friends, this is Laura with Potpourri of Life. I hope that you are doing great. What I want to talk to you today about is bone health. And the reason that is important to me is because, sadly, or is it, I have to deal with some osteoporosis things. Now, I'm not at the point where I have fractured bones. I am young enough, in my opinion, that I can fight this. Yes, I'm 63, so every year I get older, we're losing stuff in our bodies that keep us healthy. As we get older, we have to exercise more intentional exercise. So I've thought about this. I had a consult with my physician after the results, and I did a little research before I talked to him. And then I just started thinking, okay, what can I do? I thought I was doing everything right. But life brought along with it stressors. And not to dwell on it, but we had the estate issues. And I thought I was doing really good because I had the body strength to lift really heavy stuff. So I thought I was doing great. I really, really did. And our eating habits are great. I mean, once in a while, yes, I will eat some dark chocolate. But there's some magnesium in there, which is actually good for our bodies anyhow. So, I'm rationalizing everything here. So what I did was, like a couple years back, I had this, and then I was talking to another physician, actually my Lyme doctor at the time. He was telling me about some things, and one of it is, he recommended this book. And it is called Strong Women, Strong Bones. I'm not providing a link below because you can get it at Barnes & Noble. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it at a variety of places. And right now, my channel is not optimized with making money. So I'm going to share what I can with you and hopefully save you money. I do recommend that if you're looking for this book, use the resources and check to see where you can get it most affordably. And the cheapest place is go to your library and pick it up and read it. And generally speaking, you can take a book out for about 4 weeks. Jot down the notes that are pertinent to you. And if you really like the book, then go out and buy it. Again, it's Strong Women and Strong Bones. I like the book. Now, when this was recommended to me, I went and got it. I read it and I said, okay, I can do this, I can do that. And I was doing really good. So something I have not done well, I guess. And I think stress, because when we're stressed, we sometimes eat wrong. And when we were out in stuff like that, as we were coming home or something, we'd pick something up quick, so it wasn't my normal. It didn't happen very often. So what is the reason it got worse? I don't think it's all of those things. I think what it is I have been given another challenge in life. And how I overcome it will depend on my attitude and how I want to overcome it. My choice is to let my bones, go to dust, get fractures, be in bed when I'm older, be in a wheelchair, whatever it is. I don't want that type of lifestyle. So I have chosen, after I got these results, and I was trying to figure the results out, finally I was able to consult with my physician who ordered it. And I've been given some information. If I want more consult, I'll need to go out and beyond to another physician or a specialist in this. But I decided that I'm going to go and use what I have on hand. And part of that is the cost of medicine, getting tests, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, that alone has been driving me nuts. If things don't seem to do better, then yes, I will probably reach out and ask for the referral. But right now, this is what I'm going to do. And if you've had osteoporosis, would you please share your tips below? Because you know what? I want to be encouraged just like you want to be encouraged with other things when I share with the herbs and other stuff like that, or my saving tips. So the first thing is I'm using this book. One of the things that she talks about in here, and I know this, and I've done exercises, but let me see, exercise. I had it open and then I closed the book. That's really, really, really handy, isn't it? Okay, so some of the things that they recommend. Exercise bands. Look at that. I didn't have to go shopping because I had some. Why? Because I had some from before, and I used to use these a couple years back. Did you hear the word used to? I haven't used it in a while. So what am I going to do? I'm going to start using this every day again. And I know the exercises because I have a variety of them that I can use. I can build up my muscles. I can do a lot with that. The other thing is, I have these wimpy weights that some people say, that's just too light. This is heavy. These are 3 pounds each. And 1 3-pound is not so bad. But the 2 of them together, the 6 pounds, is heavy for me. Now, I went through a lot of stuff with the Lyme disease, so my bones were weakened and stuff like that. And there's some things that make it very difficult for me with my muscles and bones and stuff. One of it was Lyme, and another is some antibiotics caused them to hurt too. But you know what? I used what I had to use for whatever reason. So this is day 1 of moving forward. So the other exercises, you can use machines, you can go to a gym, but you know me, I'm a very frugal person. I'm not going to go to the gym. And to be honest with you, when I used to go to a gym, and I used to love going to the gym before I went to work. It was just very invigorating. I had a few people that I met up with, and it was great. We were all doing the same thing, and I was actually pushing weights when I was pregnant with all 3 of my girls. So they used to say, that's probably why you delivered so quickly. And I did. I delivered early and I delivered quickly. And early, I don't know if that was the reason, but quickly, I'm okay with that. So that happened. But after my 3rd child, I stopped going to a club because you're trying to balance your lifestyle. You're trying to get all kinds of things done, get back to work, do all these things. But I was walking all the time. I was on my feet all the time walking. And so, but after my 3rd child, I gained a lot of weight. I actually got up to, I'm not proud of this, I got up to 200 pounds. And that, when I realized, and I was noticing it in my pictures, and I'm like, wow, this is not pretty. And I was buying the clothes that you think are going to hide it, and it wasn't. So putting on weight is very tedious for our bones. But I ended up losing it. Like my daughter was born in 94, and I had a particular procedure in 2006. I said to my doctor, could you scrape all that excess out? He says, that's not the type of surgery I do. and I had known him for a long time. So I said, okay, fine. And the one thing that he said to me, and I love doctors who are not afraid to say something. He said to me, and I will always be thankful for him. He said, Laura, if you want to lose the weight, you will make up your mind to lose it. And I went home and I'm thinking, and it wasn't about me wanting him to take out the fat, because it's true. If you have somebody take something out like fat, but you haven't changed your eating habits, it's not going to make a difference because you're going to put it all back on. So I decided, okay, after that procedure, I went on a diet. Within 6 months, I lost 50 pounds. I was so proud of myself. I did an awesome job. And it is okay when you lose weight and nobody else is cheering you on. It is okay to say, I got this. I'm doing great. So we have that. And so I'm sitting here thinking, I'm not grossly overweight, but I have some weight to lose. Is that putting pressure on my bones? Yeah, because I'm overweight by 20 pounds. 20 pounds is a lot to carry on a small, medium frame that I am. So, okay, I got the information from the doctor. He has referred me. If I want the referral, I can go and see a specialist. I'm holding off because I'm cheap. No, because of cost of medicine. And my thought is, you got to go see him for the first consult, then he might do some tests, and then another consult, and I'm like a ka-ching, 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 because all those copays, right? And I do believe that who he would refer would be covered under my insurance. But, you know, life is just quite interesting as of late when it's that topic of insurance. So I have weights. I have, wonder what else I got? And I play with these off and on. Okay, over the last 5 months, I've used them twice, or no, maybe 4 times. These little guys, and if you look, these work all these muscles on here. So what I've decided to do, this isn't part of her plan or anything, it's like, I could do this. I could reach out the stress. You know, when you're angry about something, just like, I'm going to get back at these bones. That's right. I'm going to make them strong. I'm going to make them work. All right. So that's not part of it. Another thing is, what was the other thing that's in here? It talks about steppers. What's interesting is my husband and I have been cleaning out our shed. Now that we cleaned my father-in-law's house out, we decided to start, okay, let's start cleaning things out. Do you know what I have in our shed that is now in the house? Actually, it's in his shop and it needs to come in the house. And it will come in tonight because I have started a plan. I've got it all written out what I'm going to do. So I'm going to bring the stepper in because that is something that can also build up the muscles. And the areas of concern when you have osteoporosis is what? Your hips, your wrists, and your back. And I'm surprised he didn't say ankles, because I get sore ankles and stuff, and that's still a bone and all our weight sits on it. I don't know why. Maybe that's why I need to see a specialist to understand it more. So those are some things that we can do. And the reason I'm showing them, and you know, to get some of these exercise bands, is it really going to cost you that much? You can sit and do different things. You can put this around a door handle and pull it. There's so many less exercises that I have that I can do. So what happened that I got away from that? Life happened. That's what happened. And if you get sick, life happens. So I've decided now that it's worse, even though I thought it was better, and I was exercising, and I used to, no, not recently, I used to exercise an hour a day, half an hour in the morning, half hour at night, and then I would walk an hour in the morning and an hour at night, maybe in the middle of the day. That's not having as much. Well, I do walk when I'm on the phone with my husband because he has an hour drive. Excuse me. So, but sometimes I'm catching myself get lazy. So I'll sit down and talk to him because I'm just comfortable talking to my husband. But I've decided that I'm going to go back to intentionally walking again. But that's not the only exercise that you need. You need weight-bearing exercises. You need to do some squats. You need to do some other type of exercise. I'm not going to go over the whole list, and because I know there's resources out there to help us. I don't have them right now because I'm going to work with what I have in terms of for the things I have here in the house. Could I go to a gym? Yeah, I have one right down the street. It's right near our post office. It's near my pharmacy. So it's not like it's 2 miles away or anything like that. And I would really like to use that equipment. But the reason I will not do that yet, there are 2 reasons, maybe 3. I have excuses. Now the reason is I have tools with me right now that I can start working on the muscles. I know myself. If I start going to a club, I will overdo it. So I'm not going to overdo it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to journal it. And that is something that really helps, because when I lost that 50 pounds, I journaled every ounce that I ate. Now I realize many people will say, oh, you shouldn't have to do it. And I count calories. Now I am focused on not only calories, I would be also focusing on, am I getting enough calcium? Am I getting enough vitamin D? Am I getting enough vitamin K? And they say vitamin C is good for you. And I'm not an peel an orange and eat it, because I just don't find that they're as tasty as they once were when I was younger. So I don't enjoy them. But there are ways to get your vitamins, and oftentimes in your fruits and vegetables. Your green leafy vegetables have a lot of calcium in it too. But these are products that I already consume, so what was I doing wrong? It doesn't matter what I was doing wrong. It could be this is the journey God wants me on. And the only way that I'm not fighting back on God, I'm fighting back on nature and slowing it down. So it might continue to get worse. My husband is now worried. I worry about him for some things, and he's worried about me. But that's the cool thing about our marriage is, okay, he knows that I have pain in my bones, in my back and all that. And that was the other thing. I have a lot of stuff going down on my spine that is just not cool. And I could be sitting in the recliner or sitting here, and I'll try to get up and I'll get a massive spasm. And so I'm afraid that that's part of something telling me something's wrong. So we're going to see what we can do. And even though I'm hoping to increase my massages because she works out those muscles and tightness for me, and that's an out-of-pocket expense. So that's another reason why I would rather pay for that than to go to a club where I might overdo it. So these are my reasons. Some people might call them excuses, but you can call it an excuse, but I am determined to take down the weight, bring back my health, even if I cannot get my osteoporosis scores better, then I'm going to do something to keep it kind of stagnant, make it stay the same or something. Or try. I'm going to do what I can to make my body healthier. Now, some of the things that you need to do is consume vitamin D and K, and I'm not one for supplements. Anybody who knows me knows I'm not. So I take herbs that have a lot of stuff in. One of the things I do is I drink organic soy milk, and I know I hear all the crowds out there saying, no, you shouldn't drink this. I drink an organic soy milk. And you can disagree with me, but I'll disagree with you when you're drinking soda, or I'll disagree with you when you're drinking wine, or whatever the choices are. See, we all have things that not everybody's going to agree with. But I'm going to share with you that there is some great, a lot of people think you should drink whole milk. Now, I do like whole milk, and I'm doing better with organic whole milk that hasn't been processed. I want raw milk. And I can't always get it. I have to drive a distance to get it because the farm down the street doesn't sell it. So it's kind of a convenience factor that I'm thinking at. All right, so vitamin D, 6 micrograms, which is 30% of the daily value allowance. Calcium is 300 milligrams, 25%. And you need iron, which is 4% on this. Let me see some of these other things that it has in it. And the B vitamins are really helpful for your bone strength. Now, another thing I take, and now that I drink about a cup a day. Sometimes I drink 2. It really depends on the day and my mood. Do I want tea? Do I want soy milk? It's kind of one of those things. The other thing that I do, and I really don't enjoy it, but I have it, and I picked it up the other day, is kefir. Kefir, however you want to pronounce it. This is the original cultured whole milk. Plain, unsweetened. So do I enjoy it? No, it's not sweetened. It has no sugar. It has none of that goodness. And I refuse to put stevia in this because I put like 4 drops of stevia in my morning coffee at times. Not always. Now, another thing that I do for bone health is I do take molasses. I put a tablespoon of that in because of the magnesium and the iron, because we need iron in our bodies too. But I try to be very careful about that because you don't want to have so much iron that you're not getting rid of stuff that you need to. You don't want to be constipated is what I'm saying. And so I do use molasses. And 1 second, I'll grab my jar. And I've talked about molasses before. There are so many wonderful, wonderful benefits of it. But with this, there are 30 milligrams, which is 2% of the calcium you need. So molasses has calcium in it. Magnesium you need for your bones too, and it's 2%. Let's see. There is no, they have the calcium, they have the iron, but there is no, let's see, there's not enough vitamin D in here. But still, the magnesium is very helpful for the muscle cramps, and the reason that I'm taking this is for the benefits that it provides. I didn't take it for muscles and bones or anything. I've just added it because of the magnesium that's in it. Now, but overall, it's a good unsulfured molasses, and that's the best kind to take. So if you're interested in taking molasses, make sure you're getting one that's unsulfured. And you want to avoid as much processing in your products that you are purchasing off the counter, off the shelves at the stores. We try to avoid as much products as possible. Now, if I had a cow, I'd be making my own kefir, my own milk. I'd be doing all that. I don't have a cow. I don't have room. I don't think my neighbors would appreciate a cow on my quarter-acre lot. I don't even think they'd go for a goat either. But this is where I'm at, and I'm comfortable with these few products. I do know that I could make my own kefir if I had the raw milk and the kefir grains. I don't have any of that, so I might look into it. Another thing that you can do is use yogurt, and I use whole Greek, plain, unsweetened yogurt. I know, I have a boring life. But what you can do with that, and I can actually add it to the kefir too, is I process my berries. Sometimes I put a little bit of organic sugar. Sometimes I process them with no sugar. But you can take those and put them right in. Another thing you can do is I have some dehydrated fruit that you can put in it too if you need a little bit of flavor. So those are some options with foods. But another thing that is really, really important, and it's something I've been reading about for 2 months now, and it's about the carnivore diet, which is all meat. I am not here to tell you to consume just meat. I'm not here to tell you to do the ketovore. That's what I'm doing. It's pretty much how I've eaten. I've just not consumed as much meat as they recommend because we're just trying to watch our budget at the grocery store. So will I increase how much meat I eat? I already have over the last 2 months. I consume a lot more, and but I don't want to be overfilled. So what my goal is, and the ketovore is something I looked at the diet and it's like that's how I eat. So I don't think it's my diet. But you want to know something? I am going to record everything, and I'm going to try to get a routine of getting massages in there. I'm trying to, and it's not cheap to go for massages. But again, this is not a luxury for me. I use massage as therapeutic as well as healing for my body. And some people think it's a luxury item, and it is. But another thing that you need to think about for those who go for massage just for the relaxation and the touch and all that kind of stuff, that is very medicinal. And I think we need to stop criticizing. Now, I could criticize on all kinds of things that people do, but that's not my game plan here. My game plan is to encourage one another. And I hope that those who are watching this, I hope you're not so critical about me talking about a massage, because trust me, it's not something that I want to pay for, but it is something that is beneficial, and it's not covered by my insurance. So it is an out-of-pocket expense on my own. But the benefit is my insurance company doesn't have to know all the details. And my provider who does the massages, who I've seen for, for many years. And, it's just one of those things that I can go in there, I can tell her what's going on. She spends the time and she takes care of it. And she also works on scar tissue, which is pulling. And, I used to think that was one of the additional causes to my back pain. I have stuff going on in my back. I can't change that. And I refuse to go back and blame the people who hurt me in my life that might have damaged some things. I refuse to do that. Because any time that we dwell on the past, of our past hurts, we end up forgetting that we're living in the present. And that means taking a look at where we are physically, emotionally, and what can we do about it. So I'm going to make some lifestyle changes. I think we're all making lifestyle changes every now and then. We all need to. Now, they say you shouldn't drink much coffee. I'm sorry, when COVID hit, I started drinking coffee. I started with 1 cup, and I wonder if she says anything about coffee in here. Let's take a quick look. Uh-oh, she does, 63. I'm letting you hang on for the suspense. Okay, I drink more than 4 cups of caffeinated coffee per day. I don't. I drink 1 or 2. That doesn't make me better. Okay. Caffeine consumption over about 4 milligrams per day, the equivalent of 4 cups of coffee, doubles, oh my lord, doubles the risk of hip fracture. Okay, I can't drink more than the 2. Caffeine has a diuretic effect which increases excretion of calcium into the urine. Oh goodness. Another concern is that caffeinated beverages may replace liquids that contain calcium. I'm not being encouraged here. Though coffee, with about 100 milligrams per cup, is the major source of caffeine for most Americans, it's not the only one. Tea has about 40 milligrams of caffeine per cup. Many people don't realize that soda often contains as much caffeine as tea and nearly as much as coffee in some cases. Now, I know that there's caffeine in some sodas out there. A long time ago, after my youngest was born, I was so tired. And so I was drinking, please forgive me, I was drinking Mountain Dew all day long at work just to stay awake. And then that's when I started gaining the weight. And for those of you who do not understand that the sugar, all of that stuff that's in soda, yeah, that'll put weight on. You think it's just liquid, you're going to pee it out? No, it actually puts weight on you because of that calorie and all that stuff. But the caffeine was huge. So maybe I did damage back there after I've had my kids. Oh Lord, I've done it all to myself. I can't blame nobody but the gal sitting here. So what does this mean about my morning cup of coffee? I don't know. I plan on still having a cup of coffee. I might change it to a chai. I have a chocolate chai tea that I really like that tastes a little bit like coffee. But I just, it's been 2 years and I perfected what I like. Now these are excuses. How bad do I want my bone health to get better? Will I continue to consume up to 2 cups? Now, I think I need to jot down when I have my first cup of coffee and be done. Sometimes that first cup of coffee I never even finish. So, and sometimes that's why I make a second one. Still, another excuse, right? In life, we make excuses for where we are. We make excuses up for our guts, for our bone, for not getting exercise. But I'm at an age now where the excuses have got to stop. And I am going to, and you can keep me accountable. Let me see, how could I do that? I'll think of a way. But anyways, I am going to start this. I'm going to start journaling tomorrow. Maybe I want a cup of coffee. No, I'm not going to go for an afternoon cup. But coffee has done something for me that many people don't understand. And it has helped in some spasm type issues I deal with. For most people, coffee exacerbates symptoms. And for me, it has just calmed them right down. So in a way, I don't want to stop coffee. Do I want to drink 4 cups? Not after reading this. But I think that I can cut back to that 1 cup. And, in the morning I do, actually I was doing something else. The other thing that I'm going to do is some bone broth. I make my own bone broth. I took some bones out of the freezer today and I will be making some bone broth. So my goal is to have bone broth every single morning, a cup of it. And then get my cup of coffee like around 9 or 10 o'clock. So there are a variety of things that I'm doing for bone health. What you do is really up to you if you are concerned about that. And the one thing that a lot of people don't realize, you might not get sent for a DEXA scan until, if you're starting to show signs of bone weakness or something like that. Many times you don't get to it until you're older. I think my first one was maybe when I hit 50 or something like that. I'm trying to think back. And they wanted to just have a baseline. And I didn't have osteoporosis then. So it's just been progressively getting worse. What contributes to osteoporosis is there's a variety of things. If you have spinal issues, me. If you have had other issues where you've had back damage or hip damage or anything like that, I had it when I was younger. If you've ever had, they even say, and I believe this, by the way, and I was talking to my provider about it, they even say that if you are, I'm trying to find my notes, they even say that while you're nursing, see, when I was nursing, I nursed all 3 girls. While you nurse, the calcium is being depleted. And I believe it because I was drinking and consuming tons of calcium, like ice cream. Back then, I didn't know I had a dairy issue. But I would drink milk. I was just craving it. And what was interesting, our second daughter, she had a craving for it. And then we found out that part of that craving, drinking it that much, is an allergy because it can cause depression and stuff. So that's why I don't drink much milk, is because, first of all, it can upset my stomach, but it also can cause depression. So I try to stay away from it. So that's some of the Lyme disease. I was doing some reading. Can Lyme disease cause osteoporosis? Yeah. And we have all that bone pain and the aches and the pain and all that. And some of the antibiotics can cause it too. So there's a lot of things that kind of contribute to it. Let's see, the back issues. Another thing is surgical removal of ovaries. I just read this yesterday. I don't believe my doctor who removed mine years ago knew about this, because I think this is a new discovery. And so it's kind of, I did cry on that one. I'm like, darn. And so I decided, you can't be mad at something that you signed off and said you agreed to. But that also, because you're not getting the natural estrogen. Now I'm 63, I'd probably not be getting it anyway. But it's just one of those things. And I think my levels are fine, but I don't know. I'm not going to go there right now. Surgeries on your back. I've had back surgery. I've had some abdominal surgery. One of the things that I read, I didn't talk to him about it, was asthma inhalers can do this too, but I use my inhaler maybe a couple times a year, or if I'm on a certain antibiotic, I use it there. And that's why when I shared the other day about bladder health tea, that's why I'm doing that, because I don't want to be on antibiotics anymore. Will I have to be on them someday? Everybody has that potential, and that's why it's really important to make your body healthy. So what can you do about your bone health? And by the way, one of the things that you have to be careful of when you have bone issues is you have to be very careful. He didn't tell me this, but this is something I read. The stressors to your joints are when you're bending, lifting, and coughing. And I think sneezing too. Because every time I sneeze, and I mean, I don't sneeze as loud as my husband, but it just throws a clincher into my back and I go into a major spasm. It's not fun. I just sit there frozen, like, please go away. So I have to be really careful. I have to make sure that I'm careful with like the herbs I use, because when I'm using a variety of them, I can start sneezing. So, I know you see me like kind of giggling, because if I don't giggle, if I don't try to find the positive, then, I'll feel like my life is over, and it's not. I don't feel as old as the number says I am. So we're not going to go that route. So I think I started to say something else and I got distracted. So those are some things that you can take care of. So if you are dealing with bone issues, I know where I was going to go. Okay, so, and I don't want to forget this, and so please forgive me for kind of squirrel type moment. What they say is that you will not know you have a issue with your bones until you break it. Now, when I was a young girl, I broke my left arm. Yay me. And that it was because of some things my stepbrothers and I were doing, and they flipped me up in the air because it was magical. And it didn't end up magical. So I ended up breaking my arm. Now, that's not what they're talking about, even though that's not going to help you if you're breaking your arms and joints as you get older. What it is I could be crocheting and I can fracture my wrist. There are different things that you can do, and you can fracture stuff because our bones are not as solid as they once were. And how he explained it to me, how my doctor explained it is, like he goes, think about the ash rock from, I'll get it, I truly will. The ash rock, we're going to go with that, and then it'll pop in, okay? It has all those holes in it, okay? And so, okay, yeah, I can see that. And he goes, the more you wear on it, the more it breaks down. So, can we reverse this? I think there is. I think we can. So what she does, she talks about, is how to prevent, treat, and beat osteoporosis. And I know I have a few friends that have reversed theirs. And I'm asking, if you've reversed yours, tell me how you did it. I do believe there is a correlation between bone strength and osteoporosis. But once you have all those little holes and stuff within your bones, they're still weakened, because you wouldn't want to make, I'm trying to think, a baseball bat. You wouldn't want it to have a lot of holes so that when you hit the ball, it just break and shatter. Sort of like our bones, we don't want our bones to do that. And I honestly do not want to be in a wheelchair. And I had some friends who thought, Laura, we need to get you a wheelchair, we need this and that. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to beat this disease. I haven't beat Lyme disease 100%, but you know what? I'm functioning. I'm doing better than I once was. And that, if I can beat that, I want to believe that I can beat this. And if I can't get it better, maybe I can just keep it status quo. So I'm hoping that if you have osteoporosis and you're trying to think, what can I do? Or have you given up? Please don't give up. When we give up, life just isn't fun anymore. So start exercising. And if you can afford it and you're willing to go to a club, a gym, then do so. But be careful. Let the people who are instructing you know that you can't do some things because you have to be careful with your back. Seek counsel if you really don't know what you're doing. If you can't understand the books that are out there or what you find online, talk to a doctor. Now, I have options. I can be referred to somebody who specializes in it, and there is a good chance that I might go seek counsel. But right now I told him, I said, I need a break. I need to kind of digest this. And he's all for me going for this because it's not something that he specializes in. And we have to respect, going back to what I shared the other day about our doctors and how we need to respect them. Sometimes we get upset with them when, it's sort of like if I had a mammogram. He orders it. Yet, if it comes back that I have cancer, he's not the one to treat it. That's when you go off to the specialist. And that's the thing that I have to keep in mind here, because he works in a field that is specialized. And so he is just saying, this is where I need to send you if you're willing to go on. He won't treat it unless I want to go on those drugs. And I'll ask any of you who've been watching me, do you think I'm going to go on those drugs tomorrow? No. But he also told me we are not in that urgent place. So I'm only halfway to that point. So if things get really bad and double up on me, they will recommend it. So we're going to prevent that, or I'm going to prevent that. And I hope that if you are dealing with osteoporosis or any disease of that matter, that you are making strides to seek out and your care providers are there to help you, seek out some advice, some consult. Seek out reading materials that will educate you, inspire you, so that you can be a stronger individual. Not only emotionally, the more we know, the more empowered we become. The more strength my body has, the more empowered I come. Yes, I was discouraged. I really thought it was going to be better. And it's going to be a lot of work. But you know what? I can do it. And I believe anybody else who has health issues, you can do it, but you got to have the drive. You got to put your first foot forward, because nobody can make anybody do something that they don't want to do. It goes right back to that surgeon who did my procedure. And when I asked him, could you just take the fat off? That was a lazy request on my part. And when he said, if you want to lose it, you will do it. Same thing in osteoporosis and anything else that is keeping us back from doing and growing and being the best of who we can be. Folks, life is about thriving and enjoying life. Find the good in the negative. Do your part to switch it around and make it awesome. Folks, I hope you have a great night, and God bless.